Hello, hello, and welcome back to RareRoo Crafts. I'm Sarah, and today I'm on to share with you my project that I made for the hashtag The Feel of Vintage 2021 collaboration. So this is a collaboration where we are coming together over the next 8 weeks to inspire you with all things vintage. Now, anybody that's watched my channel for a while will know that I absolutely love vintage. It's one of my favourite themes, so I was really thrilled when the lovely Nelda asked me to take part in this collaboration. So as I say, it is a collaboration. It is hosted by Nelda of Nelda's Crafts, and all of the links for Nelda and all of the other fantastic crafters in this collaboration will be listed in the description box below this video. So if you watched my video from a couple of weeks ago, this was what I created for the first project. I took a box which was a just got a bit of glue on the side. It was a box that some tea came in for not last Christmas, Christmas before. My daughter bought me. It's a bit like a sort of selection box of teas from Bird and Blend, and I decorated the box and put loads of vintage type ephemera. I actually photocopied a vintage postcard that I got and put that in the centre there as well, and a lot of my handmade ephemera. Underneath the pinky reddy sort of colour is actually all old book text and music paper and things like that, but you can't see it loads. You can see it a little bit more on the sides of the box. So I made this box because I'd got a book that fitted in it just perfectly. So what I'd wanted to make was a box and a journal combo. So I made the box for week 1, and for week 2 I did the journal. So this is my journal. As you can see, I did just sort of grubby up the edges of the box. I've got some glue on it, but that's okay because it's the feel of vintage, so it just looks a bit more old and loved. And I did line the bottom of the box with a bit of paper. I then took the book, which was this book. It's an archaeology book from 1964, and I took the insides out. I gutted it, and then I have reinforced the spine with a bit of card and some. It's almost like a sort of lightweight Hessian type fabric that I've just reinforced that spine with. And then I found this gorgeous vintagey looking paper in my stash. So I've done the front and the back cover, inside cover with this beautiful paper. And I also made another spine piece, which I have then used to stitch the signatures into. So starting on the front page, I bought this die not long ago. It's a Sizzix die, and I've not had the opportunity to use it yet. So I was pleased to get that out of the stash and cut that one. So this is a little, I can't think what it's called. In fact, I've got it just there. Let me grab it. I don't know. It doesn't seem to have a name. It's a Thinlits die. Stitched slots, it's called. I'll be honest, it was smaller than I thought it was going to be. I had hoped it was going to be a bit bigger than this, because that's the size of the die. It's okay. I would have liked it to have been probably twice the size, to be honest, but it's okay, and it's done the job. And then I used the little die that came with it, the label die, to cut this little label, and that came from the original book that I've used the cover for, which I thought was really cute, and it sort of ties it all together. And I've then filled the slots up with loads of different pieces of ephemera so that you can use those to journal on. I have stuck behind each slot, I've stuck a little piece of paper. What type of paper is it? It's like tracing paper, but it's not. It's a little bit thicker than that. And I've just used that stuck behind each slot, just so that you don't have everything falling down to the bottom. So there's like little pockets sat behind these, and it means that when you slot things in, they've all got their own individual little pockets. And I've just used a mixture of, this is a vintage photo. This is actually a vintage photo that I picked up at my local flea market. And then I've got some little bits of faux vintage ephemera that I have created. Just using my printouts from my graphics fairy. I've then got some stickers. This was another little die, and I've just created a little card out of that. And I've got all sorts of little bits of ephemera. I've got another vintage photo. Pop that in the back pocket. Would have been sensible to fill it from the back pocket forward, really, wouldn't it? A vintage playing card. I'll pop that one in there. And another piece of the faux vintage ephemera. And then I have moved on to making a couple of signatures. I've done 2 signatures because I didn't want the actual book itself to get too bulky, because I like adding lots of little things into my books. And if you make your signatures too bulky, then you haven't got room to keep adding stuff in. So I used this little piece of like glassine paper, and I stitched it to make like a little tuck pocket, and I've just stitched over it on the sewing machine. It doesn't stitch all that well, and it does rip, so this is actually stitched in at the side there, but it did tear slightly, but it's okay, it'll be okay. I made a little wooden ruler just with a ruler sticker, and I stuck it onto what was left of creating the spine, so that I've got a nice sort of sturdy ruler piece in there. And then I've got a couple of ticket strips, and that is a sticker that I've just stuck onto a scrap of paper. I've taken this beautiful page from a book from the 1980s, and I just took a page out of the book and added that into my journal, along with some music paper. And then I've added on here with a little bird-shaped paper clip, and I just went over my paper clip with some brown alcohol ink to make it look a little bit more vintagey. And this is from 1949, and it is a letter. And when people used to go on holiday in the UK, they would buy these little letters, and it actually comes with a little cover on that they can post it in, and it's pictures of the place, photos of the place that they've been on holiday to, and then they could either just send it as it was, and it was so much to post, or they could pay a little bit more in postage, and they could actually write on it, and then they could seal it, and then they would post that off to a friend. So this was obviously written in 1949 to a friend, which I thought was really cute. So I've added that on there, and I thought that's nice because you can either just keep it as a piece of vintage ephemera in your book, or you could even use some of the blank bits to add some journaling for yourself. We've got some more of that lovely music paper, some little bits of like ledger paper, and then I've used a couple of bits of the handmade ephemera to make a little pocket with a little card that you can write on. A little bit of graph paper, and I've just put a little sticker on there. I've made another little tuck pocket, and again I've just put a couple of bits of ephemera, a bit of a vintage card, and then a faux vintage ephemera piece that you can write on. And I've been using some of the Tim Holtz Word. These are the snippings. They've actually been taken from old books. I have actually bought some old books to do the same thing. I've just never got around to doing it. And then I've got this lovely page here with this little cute little envelope embellishment on. Now this was actually a piece from the book, from the original book. I've clipped it all together with this lovely little vintagey effect book paperclip that I made ages ago for embellishments on the 11th. And I'd never used them, so I thought good time to use them. And this folds out, and it's a map of the site, the archaeology site that they were looking at, and it was actually Westminster Abbey. They were excavating Westminster Abbey in that section of the book. and I just thought that was so nice to tie in the original book in my junk journal. So a page from the original book there. Then we've got the some more. These are tea dyed papers, and I've just popped some stickers and some washi tape. This is a receipt book that I think I paid about £1 for the receipt book, and then again I've just tea dyed them, and I just stitched it in up the top there, so you could actually rip the receipts out of there if you wanted to. And again, a little sticker. I've left it so that you can see the stitching up the top there. Again, this is another page from the original book, The Excavations of Westminster Abbey, and I made this little file folder, and again I've just put some bits of ephemera in there so that you could use those as little journaling spots, and they just slot in there, and then I've just stuck, you know, bits of ephemera, bits of washi tape sticking up. I've put little bits of fabric sticking up. That's the remnants of the fabric that I used to reinforce the spine with. And then I've got another piece of the lined paper, and I've just got some it's a sticker, but it's supposed to obviously look like tickets, so I thought they looked really cool sticking out the top there. And again, just bits of ephemera. So all the way through, there's like little bits of ephemera that I've stuck on, stickers and bits that I've made. And then again, because you can't really write very much on the music paper, I've added a little tuck spot, and that's a vintage postcard. And then I've got a postcard that it's a vintage postcard, but I photocopied that one and popped that one in there as well with the little like bingo card thing up the top there. Then we've got more of the music paper, a little bit of that book page poking through there, which I always think is cute. And then we've got the other side of that sort of glassine paper that I have created another pocket with, and again I've stitched it. There's a little bit of washi tape. I've put a little chip in on there, and then I've made, just out of an old file folder, I've made a little index card. I've got a vintage photo. At the flea market I found a box full of old photographers' photos, and there was a load of old vintage wedding photos, so I thought they were really cute, so I've added some of those in. This is familiar English quotations. These are just little bits that came out of a vintage book that I've got. And then I made a couple of tags, just cut the tags. Once this is actually out of a bit of the plain paper from the front of the original book. I've just put a little sticker on it, and then I have cut one in some coordinating paper as well with a bit of that red, because I've tried to feed the red throughout the book. And then on the back I've got some of this really wide washi tape, which just helped to reinforce that paper a little bit, because like I say, it did want to split a little bit on the sewing machine, so I just reinforced it with a bit of washi tape before I stitched the signature onto that spine piece down the back there. And then I've got on here, I've got this little this is a little envelope. Now somebody made me this, but I can't remember who. It might have been Christine, it might have been the bestie, but it might have come in Happy Mail, I can't remember. But I've got that little one, and I just stuck some washi tape on it so that I could stitch the washi tape onto the paper and make it into a little flip so that you could still write behind it. And then inside it I've created another little like booklet, and again I've put one of those little quotations, a little piece of ephemera just so that it helps you put it in and out of the folder, and then just some bits of tea dyed paper, and then a couple of bits of vintage logbook paper. These are from 1958 into 1959, and then that just sits inside there. Then I used another piece of that really lovely vintage, well, it's a 1980s this book, so it's more sort of retro than vintage, but it's got that really vintage feel, which I love. And I just loved the mushrooms, so I folded it and stitched it so that it would make a little pocket with these gorgeous little mushrooms, those little toadstools, because I just thought they were so cute. And again, you've got all that lovely writing on the back there, but by making it a pocket, you can add loads of ephemera, which gives you plenty of places then to write and to journal, if you actually want to use it as a journal. And again, there's another one of those lovely vintage photos in there as well. So that's going to go like that. And then over onto this side, we've got a piece of the checked paper. And I put this, I clipped a little coat check thing on there, little butterfly, and I've stuck that onto this paper here, onto the book paper, because it was where 2 pages joined. So by putting this on like that, it gave you another fold out, and it gave you somewhere else that you could write. On this side, again, I used some tea dyed paper, and I made a little pocket just out of some music note paper. This was just some offcuts from making the actual pages with the music note paper. And I've just turned that into a little pocket that you can use to pop some ephemera pieces in. And then I've done the same thing again here, but with some of the paper from the original book. So this is some of the archaeology book paper. As you can see there, it's showing you where the buttress was, and I really like pulling that elements all the way through. And then I took a couple of vintage postcards that I've got, and I photocopied those. If they're really lovely vintage postcards, obviously vintage postcards are really hard to get again. You know, if they're from early 1900s, you're going to struggle to get them again. So as long as they are out of copyright, I will photocopy them. So I've got a couple of those in there. Another one of those clip-ins, Learning to Fly. Another little ticket thing there, little poison label on this flip out. And then we've got, this again was another postcard, and I've popped that, I've made that into a little tuck spot over the top of the music paper, so you can still see that gorgeous music paper, but it gives you the ability to tuck things in there. So as part of it, I've tucked in a few pages from an old diary. So this is from 1963, and I love old diaries, and you can see what people have been writing, and there's ideas for menus, and I just thought that was really cute. And then I made a tag just using some coordinating paper, and I stuck a few bits of that came from a Graphics 45. It was a piece I'd got left over from a project I'd done. Again, I just used a bit of leftover paper from the actual book, just so that you could jot something on there, but then obviously you've got the whole back of that tag that you can write on. And I put this, the journey is the destination, at the top there. And then on the other side, again, we've got the music paper. So again, I've just taken some of those car logbook pages. So these are, again, 58, 59. And I've just popped those on with one of my vintage looking clips that I made. Like that. So again, it gives you somewhere to journal if you want to. You can write on the vintage paper if you want to. If not, it's just there for you to look at. Then there's another one of these lovely fold-out pages from the original archaeology book, which I just love them. I love this one because it's got it shows where the coffins and the skeletons were found as part of this part of the dig, which I thought was brilliant. And I'd stuck that bit just on top of a piece of music paper there. I've got another one of those lovely little envelope embellishments down the bottom there. And then I put a sticker on this tea-dyed paper and one of these library tags, which I've actually stitched on at the top there. And I liked that. It was from the personal library of, and then I'd got a little sticker that said Finders Keepers, and I just thought that was quite fun. So I popped that on there. And then obviously it's got the little card, which I've just stamped number 94 on the top of. And get that back in. There we go. Then I've got a flashcard sticker, so I popped that up the top there. This is one of those really cute pages from the retro book, and another page from the car logbook. I've just popped that on there again with one of those clips. And then we've got a bit of lined paper that you can write on the back there again, with a few bits and bobs there. And then on the back page I'd got this clock face left over from when I made the top of the box. I'd cut 2 layers thinking I was going to sort of put them together, but I ended up not. I just heat embossed this one and just used the 1 layer, so I'd still got a layer left. So I thought, well, that'd be quite nice to pull from the top of the box into the journal as well. So I just coloured it in with a paint marker, with a gold paint marker. I've glued a little bit of the white paper behind it that's a little bit sort of sheer, so you can still just about see behind the clock face. And again, I've used it as a tuck spot. And then I've just glued on the little hands with a black rhinestone, which hasn't quite dried, on the centre there. And then I've just popped a few bits of ephemera, so that's a couple of vintage negatives, photo negatives, and then some of the handmade ephemera in there. And then that little I had a lovely time, and these were just a couple of bits of fabric. So that was the fabric scraps from the centre there, and I've used those throughout the book here and there, just the leftover bits. And then this was a bit of Ada, and I was going to do it with Ada originally, and then I remembered I'd got this over in the summer house, so I went and dug that out, but that meant I had this just on the side, so I thought it'd be nice to add a clipping of that in. And that's it. And I've left the cover. Obviously I could have decorated the cover as well, but I quite like, with junk journals, it being like the original book, because then if you wanted to, when you put them on the bookshelf, you can't actually tell until you take it out and start to flick through it that it's not the original book, which I really like. So that's what I created. I've had fun today digging all of my vintage goodies out and having a good play and creating a junk journal. So I hope you enjoyed having a look at my junk journal and having another look at the box that I made last time. So like I say, this is a collaboration, so don't forget to hop along and see what everybody else has been creating, and don't forget to come back and join us again, not next week, the week after. We do it alternate weeks, this one. So yeah, we will be back for week 3, first weekend in April. I was going to say March. March is nearly over. First weekend in April. That's all from me for now. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching what I've been creating, and I'll see you all again very soon in another crafty video. Bye for now.